Basically, I'm just doing a recap. So previous weekly candle on, okay, starting off with USD PLN. The previous weekly candle was a bullish rejection candle. We were looking for a counter trend trade up to this weekly structure on there. So on the daily, it kind of just shifted structure, went straight up. We didn't get an entry. Next, let's go to GBP CAD. Wednesday. Okay, so this candle. We weren't, so yeah, it was right here. And the next structure point was to here. This was already like in the move for the counter trend, so I didn't really look at anything. It was bearish. We had a pullback on the 4 hour on here. So let's see when the 4 hour pulled back. We did get a 4 hour rejection. So after the 4 hour rejection candle, because this 4 hour pullback, when the 4 hour pullback, you get a rejection candle that confirms the pullback. So you just look for a shift or structure after that. Where was it? Ability. Shouldn't be going this deep into the analysis because this is just a recap. Okay, 15. This part right here. So shift to structure, boom, there's nothing to retest, nothing here, and never got anything here, and never got anything here, and it just never gave us an entry. Yeah, because we don't have any. Yeah, we just never got an entry right there. Um, the 4 hour had right here said made a lower low. We went past the take profit, so I wasn't really like looking at it after we went past the take profit. I kind of just considered it being over. We went past the take profit. We pulled back. We get a 4 hour rejection candle, and right when we get that 4 hour rejection candle, we pull up to the charts. So anything starting here is where we'd be looking for an entry. So we pull up to the charts. You can see that price had a shift of structure, pullback, retested the zone right here, and we get the engulfing right here, closed right under, right, I guess, how we would have to do it would, because we'd be waiting for the 4 hour close, would be, so we get the retest here. Do we get an engulfing? It wasn't an engulfing, so we'd have to shift time frames. Yeah, I think this would have been the only way to do it. If we're waiting for price to give us the confirmed 4 hour rejection candle, and it would have shifted back. Oh, actually, right here as well. What time was this? 5 a.m. So price shifted. We came back. We did get an engulfing that did violate. You know what? Let me see this. By 2 pips, I probably wouldn't have taken that. So this trade I took because like I didn't wait for the confirmation or anything. If we did wait for the confirmation, it would be right here, and this would have been the trade. But on the retest on here, this kind of violated this zone. Unless on the 30 minute it looks better. And the 30 minute didn't even make it there. So yeah, basically the only way we would have caught that is if we push the rules back, basically just saying that the accumulation um when we're retesting the neckline, because unless here, let's scale up from here and see if we can get an engulfing right here, because this would be like a retest. One, two, three, one, two, nothing, two. Yeah, there's really nothing for us to retest to have 4 wicks in order to do it. The only time was here, break, retest, engulfing at 1 a.m., but we didn't get the confirmed 4 hour engulfing until 3. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. We're gonna move on. Next trade was AUD USD. Um, Basically on the weekly was saying, well, we looked at it here. So it was already at this weekly structure point on here. So, well, if it was a pro trend trade, we'd be looking for it to come down to here. And we got a rejection off, so we'd be looking for a weekly wick continuation starting from here. So the daily basically stayed, the 4 hour shifted, came back. We got the rejection candle here because this is the lower high, lower low. Rejection candle was formed here. So at that time, price wasn't in trend. Wait. Dun, dun, dun. Yep. Lower high, lower low. Okay, so price was in trend. When after we waited, like we waited for that, we didn't get an entry. Oh, there was one right here, right? Wait, hold on. I think right here. 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, 4 wick, retest, engulfing. It was at 10 a.m. though, so I wouldn't have been awake for that. And then you just put it below the shoulder there. AUD CAD weekly, same thing. Weekly was already basically at take profits. I wouldn't have even been looking at it. I was also looking for a weekly with pullback, which would have been like that. And get the rejection, we'd be looking for same thing right there. CAD JPY. This was the weekly point here. We had a weekly rejection. We were looking to basically take this trade down, but we only had very short range on here. So the daily kind of like shifted structure on there. We didn't really get an opportunity because we would be starting Monday and kind of just went right into because the range was so short on it. Didn't really have any way to take a trade on it. Oil, so same thing. Weekly was at a lower low. We're looking for a wick continuation, but we can only go up to here. So hold up Monday, right? Price came Tuesday, Wednesday, pulled back, but it was already past the weekly take profits. It couldn't really do anything. And yeah, so we didn't really get a trade because we would have started Monday. Monday, we get the rejection candle. Or out of pullback, we get the rejection candle. We're bullish the whole entire time. We switched to bearish right here, so we stay in trend. And let's see, don't really see any signal, nothing. And then we ended up shifting structure before we got anything. Nothing. Yep. So we ended up shifting structure. We ended up shifting structure back. And we have one, two. Looks like there might be something going on over here. Is it in session at 10 a.m.? No. Violated there, but then pulling all the way back up here. One right there. And we get the engulfing, but it's at 10 a.m. So we wouldn't have been at the charts above the accumulation. And that's where you got that drop and then it reversed. On Wednesday, started going back up. So started going back up. Opened up on Monday right here. Push down, close higher, pull back in the middle, ended up closing a little higher. So that kind of gives the weekly candle like this is weekly open from here and weekly close from here. So the weekly candle is like this, and then these are the wicks. Monday opened up there. Oh, okay, this is the open on Monday. So this is the open on Monday and ended up closing right here. Yep. And the rest is just the wicks. So, okay, Euro NZD, the weekly, we were here. The weekly take profit was just at the next weekly structure point, which is just right here. So the daily, basically when the week opened up on Monday, it just ripped right through. Monday, it just kind of just opened up and just went straight because it didn't really have much room, right? Um, yeah, it didn't really give us anything just because the weekly was just too close to take profit. So you need a little bit of a breathing room there. GBP AUD, same thing. Let's see, the weekly was right here. The weekly structure point would have had to been here. So it's pretty close. The weekly is saying like that's an engulfing candle, right? So we got a weekly strong candle saying go buys. We opened up on Monday. Where is it? Can't be that far back. Monday. Monday the 7th right here. Opened up on Monday the 7th. 7th, 4 hour had a pullback. 4 hour didn't really get a rejection or anything telling us that we can go in for the buys. So we'd be going in blind. I don't even know if there was a signal in here. We went bullish. We didn't have anything here. Or did we? Yep, well, yeah, we did. We rejected there and then we got an engulfing right here. We probably would have been stopped out though if we had taken that, to be honest. Price shifted bullish, comes back retest at 4:45 a.m. Get an engulfing, stop below here. I'm very certain we would have gotten stopped out. Yeah. Trying to get that. We would have closed out at a 1 to 3, but just that wick like that would have definitely stopped us out. So, guess good thing trade avoided there. A loss avoided. And the main thing was because the daily just didn't have a proper pullback. Like that's not a proper daily pullback. You'd want this candle to get filled, come down, close, and then you'd be like, okay, there's a proper pullback, and then we can go. It would make structure look a lot cleaner. When the daily looks like this, it's all choppy up top. That's what creates the 4 hour to look like this. So this is why you got to make sure everything's cleaner from the top down, right? All right, so AUD JPY weekly, we close strong bearish, good for the sells. This would be the weekly take profit. And at the time we opened up would have been, we opened up here. So let's see what happened on the 7th. 7th. Okay, so we opened up. And because it's a pro trend trade, we would want a proper 4 hour pullback. But let's go to the 4 hour anyways. Go to the 4 hour. 4 hours there. We get the 4 hour rejection right here. So then let's go here. And bullish. We flip. We pull back. I don't really like that. I don't really like any of that. We break structure. We break structure. And we get engulfed in here. Once we break structure and we see that single pullback candle like that, we need to just go and look right away for um a accumulation zone. Because that's like it's such a quick move that happens, but every time you see it's at 10 a.m. again. So this must have been one thing that I've noticed as well too is when all these trades happen, is not that I'm missing trades, it's just that they're the same pair. So like this would have been like AUD JPY, AUD CAD, CAD CAD. These would have all had like the same move. So it would have been like, oh, you missed a bunch of trades at 10 p.m. But it's literally just one pair and its little counterparts doing one currency and its little counterparts are having it the move. So boom, pull in, and right here, and then same thing, you put your stops above the shoulder. So right here is a shoulder, so you go right above here. And 1 to 3. 1 to 3 is right here, and you hit the weekly take profit right there. So things to note on here, I guess, is right when the weekly opens up, because this wasn't like an accumulation breakout or anything like that. The weekly opened up on the 7th right here on Monday, and the next day without having a proper daily pullback. We just had a 4 hour pullback. We had a proper 4 hour pullback. And the 4 hour pullback, when we got that rejection candle, then we knew we were good to go. And it's good that we didn't jump in before the rejection candle. Sometimes you lose, sometimes, or sometimes you miss out, sometimes you get it, but we didn't jump in before the rejection candle and we made it out like a bandit. Silver. So at the time, silver was at a lower low. This would have been the take profit on here. It was basically there already. And then the daily candle. So started on the 7th. 7th would have been right here. So basically, because we're so close, we would probably want like a quick like wick in on the 4 hour, Um, on the 7th. So let's see what happens. Let's see how the 4 hour starts to look, because the 4 hour gets a rejection right there. Where is this? This is on the 7th at 3 a.m. So right there, we can start looking for sells, right? So let's see. This would have been the 4 hour peak, but we can't because price is bullish. So we got to wait for price to actually break. So let's wait for a deeper 4 hour pullback. Nothing, nothing. Let's see, did it break? No, because it's all the way up here. It's probably not going to give us the move. That's fine. Yeah, and then it just went straight to take profit. There's no way to get in because our price never shifted. And we're at Tuesday, and then probably going to Wednesday, it's going to bounce back up. Yep. And we can't look for sell because we're still bearish. So when it came all the way back up here, perfect. This is on Wednesday. So we have from the 7th. Okay, perfect. So that being said, we have until Friday right here, which is Sunday. Okay, so there we go. Anything under that, now that we've had the 4 hour, do that. Okay, so we've broken under. We're about to get a retest here. It looks like of an accumulation level. So if we get an engulf in, we are good to go. Nothing, nothing. Boom. There we go, right there. Okay, and that is the 4 hour peak right there. So, but the thing is like it already hit take profit, right? So if you already hit take profit on the week, so we started off on the 7th, right? Monday the 7th. So if you already hit take profit on Monday the 7th, if you already hit take profit for that week, you can't take the entry again. Okay. So, and also if you take it all the way up here, what's going on with the daily? The daily's good. The daily's still in trend, but it's just that you hit take profit for the week already. So you have to be very conscious of that. Mark out your weeks, know when your week ranges are, and then starting from that week range, once you hit take profit on that, just move that pair down to the not this week, okay? Make it orange tagged. All right. 4 hour, or let's go weekly. Same thing here. Weekly was strong bearish. Our take profit was right here. We didn't really have much range. This was beginning on the 7th. So let's rewind on the 7th. And we opened up right there. Let's go to the daily. And boom, just went straight to. I guess if it's so close when it opens up, right? What we can do is let's see if the 4 hour will give us anything. Nope. 4 hours now, yeah, it's at a lower low. So let's go back. Now price can reverse anytime it wants. It gets like super dangerous down here. But technically we'd be looking to go to like the next weekly structure point, which if it was here, we'd be looking to go down to here. So let's just move this quickly down to here. On the 7th, what the heck is going on? Why am I in replay mode? Oh, I hate how it does that. Okay, so starting on the 7th to Friday. Yeah, this is the 7th to Friday. Perfect. So this is the range on here. It's if we go into the replay mode now, like this. Okay, so we had boom, boom, 7th. So right here, we opened up, yep, right here, we've opened up 4 hour candles like this because we're at take profit and it's just going to be one of those quick moves. You just need a quick pullback, right? So pullback, nice. Okay, did we get a rejection candle? Yep, that's a rejection candle. Because this, well, let's see. Measure from top to bottom. Nope, didn't go past the 43. I don't like it. Oh, but that's an engulfing signal right there. Okay. So we opened up here, we pulled back, we get a rejection candle right here. And now we can start looking for the shift of structure and everything, but we're still bearish until we go below that. So the 4 hour is going to need to do some interesting stuff. Do you think it broke when it did that? Let's see. No, it's got to go all the way up here to break. Okay, yeah, it's not going to do anything. Unless something happened. Oops, let's go back. Because we need to break the higher or low. Okay, we still didn't break it. Still within structure, none of this matters. Boom, right there, we broke. Okay, so now we need to look for that quick pullback to like an accumulation level, accumulation zone, like something if it just hits that really quick and then drops, because I don't see any other zones in between. And this way you got to be so careful with this because like the way they do it is there will be zones, but you have to be sharp enough to see it, right? There is a zone. So if you get an engulfing right here, nope, that's an engulfing. Are we about 2 pips? Oh, this is oil. This is so weird to measure. Hold on. So this is so weird to measure. I don't know how to measure oil. Oh, however, you see this pull back all the way to here and do this. So this is super valid. So this is why you got to be like on the ball. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks on here. We pull back and we didn't violate it. This one we violated, but this one we did, and we get the engulfing right here. And you just go stops above the shoulder of here. We're using this. Should be a little higher, probably like around here. I don't know if we'll have enough room because our take profit is basically right there. Let's see, we can probably get a 2R at least, maybe. 2R, perfect. Yeah, if we'd make stops tighter, you could definitely get a 3R, but I feel like this is like the safest right above this shoulder on here because we grabbed from here. So price is going to make a retracement to the shoulder. That would be the safest spot. And then we get this little pivot move here. And then once we shift structure, it's game over. So that's how I can tell when price is about to reverse. Oh, did we get it? Perfect. 3. Okay. So that's why I guess that's why it's good to hold the price 2 to 3R take profit. So 2R is when we pass a challenge, 3R is the actual take profits on there. So this would have been another 3R. And then yeah, same thing, those main key points in there. As soon as we get that rejection candle, like we got the 4 hour rejection. Once we got the 4 hour rejection, we were confirmed that the price is now shifting. So we just waited for the accumulation break retest. And when price started moving rapidly like this is an impulsive move. Like only banks and institutions can move price like that, right? That's not us. So once they do that, you can see that they're in, right? So then when price pulls back to the level on there, we get the 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks on there. Tap into it, reject it with an engulfing and boom, we just dropped down to 3R. It being at 12 p.m., I wouldn't have taken it. It's a little too late, but that just goes to show like, what we're saying on here. If price opens up and first things could happen, price opens up, you just check that day, that 4 hour. If you're really close to that weekly take profit, just take a look at the 4 hour really quickly to see if you can get a quick 4 hour pullback for the move early in the week. So this is like one of those moves. It has to be a quick move, like if we're gonna hit take profit really fast, it has to happen super fast, like by midweek. So if you have a close take profit and you can hit take profit by midweek, then that's a good trade. That's a good trade to look for that quick 4 hour pullback without the proper 4 hour pullback. Well, quick 4 hour pullback. You don't need a proper daily pullback actually because this is a wick continuation. So this trade is perfect. So when you have short ranges like this and you're almost close to it, you have to hit it by midweek, right? So that means that you should be jumping to the 4 hour, looking for that 4 hour rejection and then ready to go. Although I would have probably put my stop loss above here because this is the highest 4 hour wick. So good thing we just looked at it in the 4 hour and noticed that well, looked at it on the 15 minute and noticed that we had this impulsive move. And because we had this impulsive move that broke structure on here, then we can use just the shoulder of this because all of this is low key kind of just like a head and shoulders, like if you were to be like one shoulder, boom, boom, boom. This was the shoulder on here. And we broke and we retested. It's kind of ugly, but yeah, you just put it below the shoulder. That's how I'm seeing it at least. And just like, I guess like if you were to just look at the averages of all these wicks on here, like, like you can kind of see like there's like a cluster here or like a cluster right above here, but just this part for some reason, just everything, we can delete this line because that's where we opened up. Just delete that as well too. Just looking at this, you can see, and it's just like, this would be a pretty safe bet. Um, all that could just be confirmation bias as well too, right? So, okay, weekly here, we had a weekly, we're looking for the week continuation go, which we've broke this low already. So the weekly wick continuation is a quick move. So it usually has to happen by midweek, okay? So it's a very quick move. The weekly wick continuation is not a move that we're looking to continue at the end of the week into the next week. It's just a quick move up to Wednesday, and then price is probably going to reverse after Wednesday. So we would have opened up on the 7th again, right? And daily, we would be looking for, let's go replay on the 7th. Okay, we would have opened up. Okay, since it's a weekly wick pullback, we're looking for that quick 4 hour pullback and a rejection. It didn't really give us anything. Now we're at a new 4 hour lower low. So since we've already broken through that one so fast, we can end up aiming for the next 4 hour structure, which would have been literally right there. We tapped into that, would have had to go all the way down here. Let's see. We never really, yeah, we never really got confirmation because even on here, like the 4 hour pulls back, where does it ever shift to do it? We go bearish here, we go bullish again, we shift, we pull back. It just never gave us a move or anything like that. Oh wait, hold on, we got to start the replay mode again. Right there. To right here. Okay, perfect. Okay, we broke structure on the 4 hours, so we're not even looking. So that means the daily needs a deeper pullback. Perfect. So the dailies had a deep pullback. So now the dailies had a deep pullback. The 4 hour, we need to shift structure. And week is over. We finally shifted structure on the 4 hour to bullish. Oh no, we were bullish. We wanted to shift bearish, so we needed to go like this. We wanted it to go like that. Boom, boom, boom. So we can still look for this if the weekly candle says down, but if the daily, let's say the daily kind of pulled like this, the daily didn't shift structure, so that is good. So the weekly is still bearish. The weekly's had a proper pullback, it looks like. Nah, it didn't really pull back all the way. Let's see. We were to do it like this. Yeah, one touch, two touch, three touch. Okay, well, this is for future analysis. So, but either way, I'm not going to be looking at this because this is basically saying that this wants to go up. This is a massively strong candle, so I don't want to trade against this. You can see massive rejection on the sell side. I don't want to trade against this. We won't be looking at this. Okay, USD ZAR, which was at a higher high. Um, it was at a higher high. The direction, we were looking for a weekly wick pullback. Strong candle. The daily, we would be on the 7th. 7 right here. We never really had that daily pullback until it came all the way back down to here. Put our end marker so we know when the week is over. So within that time, 4 hour had a pullback. It had a giant engulfing, which ended up closing up here on Tuesday. And then price ended up shifting after that. So if we were looking at it, we would have been, okay, we would have been like, yeah, we're waiting for price to have that pullback. So this would have been, yeah, Monday was shot up and then price would have been having a proper pullback, 4 hour, next 4 hour, 4 hour, boom, 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 all the way back down. And then we finally get that confirmation candle here on 7 a.m. 7 a.m. on Tuesday. So 7 a.m. we would just need like a shift of structure and then go. See all of these, like you'd be like, oh, you missed it, but there's no entry. Right here broke. There's no entry until price. There's no entry. So boom, 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 boom. If you really want to force it at 2 p.m., hell no, that's not happening. And then price ended up dropping all the way back down. Let's see what's going on with 4 hour. And you can see the 4 hour shifted, so we're not looking for that or anything. Okay, and GU, this, yeah. Okay, so same thing basically. This looked exactly the same as USDZAR. Wait, what the heck did I not go through USDZAR? I just went straight to G. What just happened? USDZAR. Yeah, this is USDZAR. Okay, and GU. Oh, I guess okay, that was weird. I thought I was on GU. Okay, now GU. The weekly it closed as this rejection candle, so we would have been looking for sells for sure. Um, not expecting this. Oh, I guess it's kind of cool because it kind of wicked down really fast and it came back up, right? So how the wick down happened is the daily, we're looking for the counter trend, right? So we would go in, confirm the daily direction. So once the daily shifted to bearish right here, we would then be looking for the 4 hour, have that pullback. Once that 4 hour has that pullback and rejection, then we would be looking to sell. So pullback. Okay, perfect, failed rejection. Okay, and then we look for accumulation break retest. So price had shifted structure right there. Now we're bearish. Should we be looking for that quick rejection? Because we get that, once we get that pullback candle, we got to start looking for the rejection right away, right? So find 4 wicks. Here we got 4 wicks, but price never made it to there. So we're not taking that. Um, yeah, nothing. We got to pull back. I don't see 4 wicks again, so we're not taking that. We got to pull back. Just don't have 4 wicks anywhere. So let's wait for nothing. Oops. Let's wait for a pullback candle. Nothing. Okay, we get a pullback candle. Did it reject? And it's too far, like for an accumulation zone. We can't see that far back. So then go to the 4 hour, wait for the 4 hour, and it just hit weekly take profit. And 4 hour had a pullback. Pullback, nice, it's pulling back. But when did it, let's find our range, by the way. We need to find Monday 7th, which would have been right here. So technically we didn't. Oh, right. Got to remember on replay mode that that replay thing is just messing me up. Okay, 4 hour pullback because yeah, we just need a proper 4 hour pullback either way because it's the counter trend trade, even if it wasn't. Um, yeah, it was a counter trend trade, so we need a 4 hour pullback either way. 4 hour proper pullback is needed first if we have a like a counter trend trade or a weekly wick continuation, we could just use the 4 hour. But if we have one of those like proper trades, it's just a pullback to the weekly area of interest, then we need the daily to have a proper pullback as well as the 4 hour and everything. So let's go to the 4 hour. Okay, we never got that rejection. So let's wait for it to pull back deeper. Okay, we got a rejection there. This is that peak wick again with the anomaly there. Let's go in. Yep, we got to shift the structure right there. We got to pull back. Once we get that pullback, we need to start looking for that accumulation. Possible zone could be right there. Possible. I think we violated that to be a possible zone. Tuesday, midweek would be by 18th. Midweek would be right here. So I guess, okay. So the week started at the 7th. We've already hit the take profit by the 7th. So after that, all of this price that's shifting, it's over. You know? If the week has started and you've hit take profit on the 15-minute, then that means if the week has started and you hit take profit on the 15-minute, then it's over. Can't look at this anymore because then now we're at the end of the week, all right? And then still looks like the daily's still bearish. Yeah, daily's had a proper pullback now. And because the daily is closer like this and not shifted, it means the weekly is a strong bearish candle because we would have, as the weekly, we would have opened up right here and closed right here. So this is the range basically, which is not a strong bearish candle. Yeah, fill though, depending on where we are. Weekly opened up right here and closed right here. So the candle is right here. This is the wick. So the next candle we can anticipate that will just form right here and fill this candle. But it just depends on the whole entire weekly, like let's see. I was way off. What happened there? From the 7th, Friday, right there. Okay, so we still have a couple more days. That's why it's important to label. I gotta remember to label these things right away with the marker so I know my range. And 4 hours shifted. So when the 4 hours shifted, it doesn't really tell you anything why, but okay. But either way, this is a nice buy signal to go and then go to buys for pro trend. So we would then be waiting for we haven't even been looking at confluences. Let's just go like this and is weekly TP and it's pro trend. We're just targeting there and it being like this, the daily is going to be good. So we just need the daily to have a shift of structure. and then go. So by midweek and then have the move at the end of the week because we definitely can't take sells for a counter trend trade with this giant rejection candle on there, okay? So basically this one is going to need a daily shift structure. Let's go on. Let's continue our previous week. Same thing. Well, this one was interested here. So we had opened up right here. So let's go to the daily. Let's go to the 7th. And end of week, which should have been Friday right here. So we opened up basically right when we opened up, we opened up right here. The daily was having a pullback. There was this rejection. There was this rejection right here. 4 hours of saying, yeah, I am done pulling back. So if we were to go here at this time, this is the higher high, this is the higher low. So we need a shift in structure. Boom. We shift the structure. We don't really have an accumulation or anything like that. See, it started accumulating right there. Break, retest, nothing. And you get an engulfing right there. But I would have probably said that this kind of like this break here violated this neckline on here. It's invalid because of this break on here, so I wouldn't have taken that. But I don't know. You get another signal right here. So maybe if we get another one right there. Nope, that definitely violated it. Did we put our markers for end of week? Okay, perfect. And also for midweek, we'll just start at Tuesday. We're bullish, not getting an entry signal, and we're past the take profit. So then we would have to go to the next. Let's go here. The next zone would be right here. Yay. All right, we got a rejection. And we're past midweek already too. So if we're past midweek, we can't do the weekly wick continuation because the weekly wick continuation is supposed to be a fast move. So anything after midweek, which is on Tuesday, then you can't do the weekly wick continuation because it's a fast move. Um, that would be our entry there because we have an accumulation entry here, 6:15 p.m. No, thank you. Um, Nothing. Yeah, the only one like what is it, 6:15 p.m. right there. This would have been the only entry. Um, Stops. Since we're using this, we could put our stops below here. And to R. Yeah, but it's just out of session for me, so I'm not going to be looking to take that. Other trades for the week, USD So we had pulled back. We had this. We pull back. We basically had this like rejection candle. So if this is at an area of interest, like I was looking for a counter trend trade for this, right? Because I don't know why. I guess because I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, this is a weak bearish candle, right? It's weak, so we can then look for to continue going counter trend, right? But yeah, we could have taken it after this for this bullish, but no, bullish right here, but Yeah, so for the trends, we have it in the rules, but in order to take it, it needs to be like an engulfing or a blue rocket candle. This is a weak red candle, the bearish candle that just shows sign of weakness, right? But if it was one of these like bullish candle like this, right, where all the weight is on the upper end, then that's good because then that's a good buy signal. They're hard to see in here. They can have a top wick too, but just most of the weight has to be on the upper end, you know? Just it can't, and then that's for buys, but you can't have, trying to sell because these candles here means the wicks are going to get filled, right? So basically, if you pull back to a weekly area of interest and you see that candle, you can consider it 22. Yeah, if you pull back and you see that candle, you can consider that a signal to continue. It's like a good sell signal. It's the equivalent of an engulfing because the engulfing is going to happen on the next week, right? So if you can get in on that and write it down, and you can fill the wick for that on USD JPY this week. Yeah, perfect. So we had an engulfing. We were looking for a weekly wick pullback down to this level on here because this is the next weekly level. So we go to the daily. We got to mark out our zones right away. So let's go to the 7th and then to Friday. What the heck? And then to Friday. Perfect. 7th Friday. Okay, and then let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour is gonna look weird because we have to be starting from here, right? So we can put the replay mode on. When we come to the charts, this is what the 4 hour would have been looking like. Sunday, 4 hours like this. So we need the 4 hour had a rejection on there. So I guess we could be looking to then take it right away down to take profit. So let's see. Um, let's go 4 hours. Let's just mark this out. Um, So the 4 hour needs to shift bearish, by the way, because it's also bullish. And no matter what happens on the inside, nothing matters there. That's your higher, your lower high. Whoops. This is your higher high. This is your higher low. So since we're trying to sell down to this point on here, we need price to either break down here and then sell or break above and then shift and then we can go get sells. So we broke above. We broke above. Perfect. Higher low is right here because we can get the bend. Okay, so what do we got here? This is the higher high. You gotta be careful. Like price, what it'll do is it'll try to be that's equal on there. So we're still good. That's still the higher high. This is still the higher low on here. Swords weight in. Perfect. We broke. Higher low, higher high, broke again, higher high, higher low. Went now, okay, perfect. Now we're perfect. We're bearish. So this is the lower high. This is the lower low. Okay, we broke under. You can see we have an accumulation level here. 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks. And this is why you got to zoom in because you can see that even though the normal chart doesn't look like that, when you zoom in, you can see right there, 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks. Right, so now we just wait for a retest of that. Boom, we test it, get an engulfing. Okay, weak candle. You remember these candles are like the ones that need to get filled, right? Whenever you pull up to an area of interest, pretend this is like on the higher time frame. On the higher time frame that we're looking at, right? On the weekly, it pulled up, it had this weak rejection candle on here, right? Less than 43% filled, right? So when you see that at the area of interest, right, then you know that candle has to get filled. So that's why we're looking for it to get. The next candle be the engulfing, and then we can take it. You could take it on this one if you want, but that's crazy. I'd much rather just wait for the engulfing confirmation, which will happen right there. Boom. There you go. Engulfing. Even though this is a weak candle, it's still an engulfing because you have it's a evening star engulfing because you have a smaller candle in the middle, the rhombi, and then you have the engulfing candle on here. So the three candle pattern. And you just go boom, put your stops above the accumulation. So this was the higher low right here. We broke. You just put it right above right there. And then yeah, we just target. We just need a 3R, whatever. One thing we need to remember to do as well too, for a Tuesday. Okay, so after we hit take profit on Tuesday, it's over. Boom. Okay, so we hit take profit, which is a 3R. This is what we're targeting. So we hit that 3R. Now we're at the halfway week because we're at Tuesday, Wednesday. It rolls over right here. Okay, we're on Wednesday. Basically, it looks like it's at the end of Tuesday it happens. So like Tuesday Asia, that's midweek. Okay. And then anything after that, we're probably gonna look for a reversal. Dang. Okay, so yeah, we could have had a 1 to 5 if you can stomach holding that, and then all of a sudden it just like midweek came and then it kind of just went all the way back, would have stopped you out on there. But yeah, that's USD JPY. I think 8:30, 8 p.m. Boom. That's such a great trade. I love that trade. Okay. Gold, we didn't do Euro USD weekly. So the weekly would have been right here. We would have been looking for a weekly with pullback. We got an engulfing as well too. So looking at this, you're like, okay, we got a weekly engulfing and the weekly is on a bullish trend. So we just need the daily to confirm and for the 4 hour to have a quick 4 hour pullback and then we're good, right? So we're like this, we go to the 4 hour. We need the 4 hour to have a pullback and confirm. So 4 hour start in, let's mark up our range from the 7th. 7th to Friday. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, we would have been like pulling on Friday. It would have been Thursday, right? So we would have pulled up. It's Thursday. We need a rejection candle for the week. So let's do this in real time, I guess. Okay. So we pull up and we're like, okay, we need a rejection candle for this week starting to confirm that the 4 hour is ready, right? Because past week 4 hour rejection doesn't matter. We need a rejection confirming that people are interested this week. So we go, nothing, nothing. Oh, we get an engulfing. Okay, so we get an engulfing. Let's mark out our midweek again. Let's go 7 p.m. Tuesday. Okay, so we get our confirmation and this is a weekly wick pullback. So since it's a weekly wick pullback, this needs to be a quick move. So we have the move before Wednesday. We have the 4 hour confirmation before Wednesday. The 4 hour, this is the higher high. This is the higher low. This isn't kind of structure because there's no bend. You can't put a bend around there. The only parts you can put a bend around are this, and this. And you know, they say they can't be a higher high without a new higher low. Yes, you can have a new higher high without a higher low because there's no structure right there. So forget that. This is the higher high now. This is the higher high, this is the higher low. We get the rejection candle early half of the week, which is good for the wick continuation. I'll say that fast. And okay, so now since we've gotten that, let's just mark out, boom. You know that we just needed accumulation, break retest now. So this is an impulsive bank move, right? So when you see these impulsive bank moves, you need to look right away for that quick pullback. And then because you might get an engulfing off of it. But here we didn't have anything. We never broke this zone. We're still bearish or anything. So we're good. Okay, now we broke, and that's not a retest that I'm looking for, but that would be an accumulation zone. Imagine if it retested that, you know? Impulsive move again, so look for that quick retest of an accumulation zone. So right here, nothing, nothing. That's not an engulfing that we're looking for. Um, and what we want to know now, yeah, perfect price broke that. So this is the higher high, this is the higher low price has shifted. So where was we're looking for bullish. Okay, price is bearish, so we need that 50-minute to go bullish. Okay, we're bullish. Bearish again. Bearish. Bullish. Retest, not an accumulation. Oh, wait. Oh, oh. I was gonna be like, okay, do we have something here? But we didn't actually pull all the way back down to this level on here. So this is why it's important to like make sure that you're very precise and wait for price to pull down to your level, right? This is the base of the neckline. You can't have a float in accumulation like this and be like, oh yeah, we had touch under, so then go ahead and take it. Price needs to come back and touch the candle body, right? So even if it was like here, like sometimes you'll have these ones where you have to use like a single candle body, right? We'll have like 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, 4 wick. But as long as you're touching a candle body, it's good. You know, it can be a support and resistance level like this where you have two candle bodies, or it could just be one single candle body off of here, or it could be four or whatever. But as long as you're touching one, okay? So we're patient. We didn't wait, do anything. This is now the lower high. This is the lower low. We're coming up to midweek here. Let's go. So this was okay. Now we're bullish. We didn't really have an impulsive move, so I'm not really looking for that quick retest or anything like that. Like the impulsive moves have to be like this when it's just like institutions are just like 50 million, 80 million, you know, just dropping bags like right here, right? It can't just be like, and right here as well too. It can't just be do 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 do, you know? So shift again. Okay, we shifted. Okay, we got an engulfing right there. Not bad. And it's before the week, the midweek. So, oh yeah, yeah, okay. Trick is just figuring out where to put the stop loss. More. So the thing with these is I don't really know how to handle these, right? Because let's go, it hits, this would be up in profits, like close to 2 hours. So this would be up more than 5%. So if you're up more than 5%, the day closes Wednesday, 45. Like this is Tuesday, right? So if you're up more than 5% on Tuesday, and now Wednesday comes by, you can't you can't go down back to break even, down to more than 5%, because then you breach your daily limit. So if that's what I don't understand. Like if you're up and then the new day closes, you have to find a way to either keep going up So that means you have to probably trail your stops you have to trail your stops. That's the only way to do it. And then you're gonna end up like missing out because you're not gonna hit take profit, or it's gonna, you know, because if you can't let it go back down, like if you're up 5%, right? And then price comes back all the way down, that's another 1R, then you blow the account how these funding companies set this thing up, right? So I don't know really what to do there. Um, this was kind of the same thing. Let's see what's going on. Because this is a European pair. All these European pairs all act the same, right? So we had a weekly bullish candle. So this is saying buys. The weekly trend's also saying buys. So then we would go to the daily. We would find a range. So we'd be like from the 7th to the Friday, which would be right here. And it would be a weekly wick pullback, right? So starting on right here. So Mon hmm, that's new. Should we start it on Monday or Tuesday? Because we started it on Tu Sunday. We technically would have had a rejection candle already, right? We would have a rejection candle already, so then we would just waiting for the accumulation, but I don't think we ever got one anyways. Yeah, we never violated any core accumulation. So here. So okay, let's do it this way. So let's say we started, right? This is the range. This is midweek, we'll say. Okay, impulsive move, no accumulation possible. Price is bearish. Price is bearish again. Bullish. We had an accumulation right here. And we got an engulfing at 1 p.m., but that's out of session. I would say like right there, but at 1 p.m. can't really do anything. Like who's at the markets at that time? Fiends, that's who. Okay, impulsive move. No accumulation level until like around here, so we didn't really get anything. Nada, nada. Price is now bearish, bearish. Okay, so we're price on the 15-minute is bearish. So you can see like the 4-hour segments in here, right? So like from 7 all the way to 3, that's one 4-hour candle. So this 4-hour candle from here, from 3 a.m. to 7 p.m. had shifted structure. So that means this was a bullish, this 4-hour candle here was bullish because it had started here, dropped down, made a wick, closed above here. So it closed as a like this should be the range basically if we 4-hour candle opens up here, right? So we go here and we open up here. This and we close all the way down here. So this should be the range of this 4-hour candle. Um, Opened up, wicked, closed right here, right? So let's see. Opened up, wick, closed right. I don't know. I don't know. This replay chart's messing me up. But okay, now this one here closed. Wait, hold on. This is midweek. No, it's not. This is midweek. 7 p.m. Tuesday, midweek. All right, back on track. Okay. So I don't know what just happened there. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we broke structure, nothing. We come here, we're still bearish. We need to buy, right? So price break structure on the bullish end. Not an impulsive move like this. Bearish now, bullish again. And we have an accumulation level here. One, two, three. Nope. One, two, three. Nope. One, two, three, four. There we go. One, two, three. Right there. And we get the engulfing right here. So there's price pullback, no engulfing created to break structure or anything like that. And we get the perfect retest. One, two, three, four, retest, engulfing right there. Stops above or below the accumulation right hither. And it's before midweek, so we're Gucci. Okay. So basically, oof. I wonder what could have went so horribly wrong. Okay, we get another entry. Let's see, break. Nope, price is still bearish throughout this whole entire thing, so you can't take it there. Um, oh, here's the structure point right there. So you would have to tuck it right there. And oh, look at that, 3R. So yeah, very important to pay like attention to the structure itself because we didn't use this as the structure level, so we don't have to put it all the way there or anything. And we get the next structure level right here. If you zoom in, you can see the bend, then you would have hit 3R. Same thing, this would have been the same for USD EKK as well too. So we don't need to go through the whole analysis, but basically weekly is confirming because it had an engulfing candle on there. So weekly is confirming with the engulfing candle. Um, and the weekly saying that it's bearish as well too. So the daily is also going to be bearish as well too. So then we need to go to the 4 hour. We need to find 4 hour from the week of the 7th, Monday to Friday. Just say like right here. Okay, so Sunday. Okay, so basically, yeah, we pull up the chart, the 4 hour, it's doing this thing. We pull up, we get a 4 hour confirmation rejection for the week, right? So on this new week here, it's saying boom, there we get the 4 hour rejection candle. So let's play it back in real time. Okay, so we look at this and be like, oh, this is the sixth rejection candle. This says Sunday the 6th all the way down at the bottom here. It says Sunday the 6th rejection candle. So we're on a new week, right? Our week starts on the 7th. So we need a rejection candle on the 7th. So let's go boom, 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 boom. We got our rejection candle there on the 7th. Oops. We got our rejection candle there on the 7th. We mark out our midweek. Got a rejection candle. So we can start looking for the accumulation structure. Let's see what's going on here. Price never broke there. So when it's dropping fast like this is an impulsive move. You need to look for that quick pullback to that accumulation zone and get in on the engulfing next. This was not an accumulation level here. This is one here, so if we break below and then do that, pull them back up. Um, Nothing all the way back there. We're still bearish, made a lower low, pulling all the way back, made a higher high, made another higher high. This is still the higher low. This is still the higher high. So we already got our 4 hour rejection confirmation for the week, so we're good. We know that we can sell. Boom, broke the low, not an accumulation zone or anything like that. Nothing, broke the high, broke the high. That's the higher high. This is the higher low. Need to wait for it to shift before we can do anything. Boom, it broke the low right there, right? And here you have 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, 4 wick. Wait for price to retest that. Boom, price retests it. This is the higher low now, by the way, or the lower high, my bad. This is the lower high. So as long as price doesn't break above that, we're good. We also have our accumulation right here as well too, because this one right here would have been broken with this candle, right? But if we slide it up to here, we got nothing. There's nothing there. Okay. Um, okay, perfect. We broke structure. I don't know why that neckline was there. Um, Still okay. Break the bearish. Okay. This is looking promising. Some stuff going on here. Wait, hold on. We go here. Did we break? Nope. Oh, oof. Would you jump in on that? It is perfect though, you know? Like it is a perfect retest and everything. It's at 6:15 p.m. You go here. Um, where would our stop loss even be? Let's just put it above this shoulder. Price ever shift structure anywhere? Like, like covering this shoulder on here. I think that was it. Yep. So this was a 2.5 R. Yeah, I would say that's a good stop loss spot just above this shoulder right here and above this. So 2.5 R. Um, yeah. So that was the breakdown for the week of the 7th of April to the 12th, right? 7 to the, well, 11th. Peace.